tuned in to the world's most dangerous show. It's the Recap with the GoodFellaz Show. It's your boy Tommy Gunz, alongside my man Shah Montana. What up?
What's good? Y'all already know the no cap recap all day, baby.
And of course, the voice of the streets himself, heritage hip hop's own Karev Yah, always representing for the culture.
Peace and blessings, and welcome to the Recap with the GoodFellaz. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, and sit at the table because we serving you nothing but the best content on the internet. Salute.
Shout out to my man Dav Noble and Big A. They couldn't make this show. They're off doing GoodFellaz things, but they will be back next episode. And of course, shout out to the super producer himself, Sayjin, aka Beyond Mayhem Media, doing what he does. So, with the introductions out the way, you know how we do, man. Not only do we talk about everything that needs to be talked about, but you know, we gotta break the new artists, the new movements, the new flavors first. And right now, we have one of those artists that you're gonna sit back, it might be a year from now, 2 years from now, you're gonna be like, yo, I remember when I seen him first. And you're gonna think about the Recap with the GoodFellaz Show. So, without any further introduction, introducing this cat right now. He got the streets on fire. He's got the internet on fire. His single Toxic right now is killing the clubs. Introducing Flow4Thought. What's going on?
How y'all doing, everybody? Again, appreciate the opportunity. Glad to tap in with you guys.
No doubt, no doubt. We appreciate you being on the show. Shout out to my man Nucci Rayo. He sent me this record. He's like, yo, you need to tap in with this. I heard the record. I was like, yo, this shit is crazy right here. So shout out to him. Shout out to you, man. We appreciate you. It's an honor to have you on the show. We look forward to chopping it up with you. And not only that, but even after the show, my man from Heritage Hip Hop, Karev Yah, is here. He definitely wants to chop it up with you as well on his platform. We're going to make that happen as well.
I appreciate that. I welcome the opportunity.
No doubt. So first things first, where are you from? Where are you representing? And how did you get into the game? That's what everybody want to know right now.
All right, well, giving you a little bit of a backstory. I'm actually, it's funny you mentioned Nucci Rayo. Like, we're actually from the same hometown. Rahway, New Jersey. Now, I currently reside slightly outside of Jersey, but getting into how I got into music, I wasn't really big into hip hop because my parents, they didn't really let me listen to it much. So I didn't really get into it until I want to say I was about 12, 13 and then upward. But I guess backtracking, I think the person that made me want to rap in the first place was Pun. I was like, yo, I love his flow. I was like, I could do this. In future records, you'll hear more of that sound. Like I'm more traditional when it comes to me actually rapping, but I like to consider myself a versatile artist. When I got into music officially, I want to say, I was about 13 years old, and I was just playing. I was literally playing around. I started like writing little raps and stuff, and didn't think anything of it. And then I actually approached Nooch. And I started letting him hear my stuff, and he was like, "Nah, this ain't it. Like, stop what you do." And you know what? Like, I respect the critique. I needed that because it turned into something more, and it pushed me to be better, like as far as pushing my pen. So, but seriously, as far as releasing music on platforms, I say it started in 2016. I released a EP with called Soul Food Night Candy. That's still streaming on all platforms. And now, moving forward, we're here.
Come on! Wow, that's interesting that you brought up Pun.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because you said he made me feel like I could do this, because I feel like personally, I mean, first of all, Big Pun, RIP, legend. But Pun had one of those flows that I feel like if you weren't really about that rap life, you just tap it, because yo, his flow, like the way he went off, like can't anybody rap like that?
I agree with that. I will never try to compare myself to a legend in the game. I will never do it. Now, what I will say though, the first rap record I ever heard was Twins.
Yeah.
Literally Twins. And going into that, like, I mean, it was something about his flow. I was like, yo, I want to see if I could do that. I'm gonna be able to do that. And I just kept pushing myself. Now, as far as the singing goes, I used to sing when I was younger, but I never really took it. I didn't take the singing aspect of my music serious until there are a couple guys in my camp that, I mean, you guys are talking to me right now, but you'll be hearing from them shortly too. I'm one of 5 artists in a camp called Everything Major. Okay. We're all extremely versatile. All of us are talented. So be on the lookout for them. They're coming up right behind me. But nah, it was literally something about his flow that I was like, I can do it. I can do it. And to be that great, hopefully down the line, I'll be able to inspire future generations to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's how you know that your heart is in the game. Because back then, I mean, all throughout hip hop, but especially now, a lot of the artists that are out, they have just the generic, let me rap a couple words, let me sing song my way through a song, let me get a hot beat. But they're, you know, the talent, first of all, the talent's not there. And then you could tell it's not really in them. It's like they're trying to get a quick check. Yeah,
I mean, I can agree with that. I mean, hip hop has evolved, and to some people, de-evolved, because you don't see the same song structure as you did 80s, 90s. You don't see 16s. You don't 16s. You don't see 3-verse songs like that. You know what I mean? You may get a 12, or you'll
might get a 7.5. Yeah,
it's a completely different vibe. I mean, everything's going to evolve over time. But as far as, I'll put it like this, I can say that there aren't as many classics, and that's a conversation that I've had. And it's not just because of the volume of music that is out nowadays, because it's a lot more accessible for people to put their music on these platforms, but it's literally, I mean, I feel like, a lot of stuff is rushed, and people you don't have the time to resonate with the music the way it is we used to, you know? So
yeah, like back in the day, the artists would release a single, they would work the single, they would promote the album. Now they just throw some shit on iTunes or Spotify, and they're like, listen, here, it's out. What? And, you know, it's like they just put it out because they're either reaching a quota or they just want to get some streams and then keep it moving.
I feel like a lot of artists they tap in with their fans, but they don't. Again, like I can agree with what you're saying as far as chasing a check to some extent, you know what I mean? But you don't really have a lot of essentially meaningful music. So it's something that bothers me. My name personally, Flow4Thought. Flow is an acronym. It's for love of writing, because it wasn't so much the rapping that got me into it. It was the writing. There's a point in time where I was like, I didn't mind just writing, you know, just to let people hear my stuff. Like, I didn't care about actually performing it or anything like that. I just wanted people to actually hear it and have an appreciation for the art form.
Yeah, well, I can tell you're serious, because first of all, Flow and Thought is in your name. Come on! Most of these artists, they're either little this, young that. It don't seem like they're serious, but when you hear a name like that, you're like, all right, cool. This cat has something to say. How would you describe the music, not only that you've already put out, because Toxic, like I said, Toxic is actually, there's layers to that record, but how would you describe the type of music, not only that you've put out, but that you would like to put
out? The music that I'm putting out now, music nowadays is more, as I was discussing, it's more catchy, you know, it's more beat centric, in the sense they want people to get up and move, or, you know, but the music that I would like to put out for future records, so people can pay attention to, is something to make you think about different life experiences. For instance, I got something that I'm cooking up, I want to say probably my next studio session, actually. I think I'll get it completely done. It's actually about depression. Like, wow. It's just raising awareness about things like that, because there are a lot of people that don't even acknowledge what they're going through, or feel they have to hide from the world. Yeah. You know, about problems that they're actually, you know, that they're dealing with. And you don't always have to take on the world. It's okay to not be okay.
So I can see just from that comment, because just like as you mentioned, a lot of rappers, it's all facade. I'm rich, I got this, I'll do this. As opposed to the reality, a lot of these rappers, you see them 6 months, 11, a year later, so-and-so bankrupt, or so-and-so in jail for child porn, whatever craziness is in the world. And it's a facade, but here you are talking about a serious, like, depression is something it exists. It especially exists in communities of color, but you don't hear too many people address that because they rather talk about the non-reality or the stuff that's actually not happening.
I agree with that. I want to say it like this, like, we have a ton of, as artists, we have a ton of things that we could brag about, or opportunities that we could brag about. Okay, I'm doing this, and that's all fine and well. That's great for you. That's fantastic. But to the average listener, to keep them entertained, you have to still remain relatable to some context. Like, yeah, we all have things that we strive for, but what if your goals don't line up with what a rapper's goals actually would be? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, okay, so you want to make $10 million. Okay, we all wish we had $10 million off rip that we could throw around. But what are you doing to actually, like, throughout your music, what are you doing to actually improve the community that you live in? You know what I mean? Because I feel that the music now, like, each era of music represents a generation. So what you have, let's say the 90s, right? Okay, we went from selling drugs to using drugs in the 2000s and up until now. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, where are we actually going with this? Like, explain that to me. Like, what is the moral of the story here? Like, I feel like we need more positive ground.
You dropped the jewel with that. We went from selling drugs to using drugs, and they rapping about it. What? It's crazy, Yo, let me formally introduce you to the homie Karev Yah of Heritage Hip Hop. He's definitely got you some questions for you. And I gotta let you know off top, in my opinion, he's arguably one of the best interviewers that I know. Okay. Karev, what's good?
Peace and blessings. Flow4Thought, what's going on?
How you doing, sir?
I'm chilling. So I am a person who dissects music and really gets into hearing what people say and also catching the volume of what they talk about. I want to ask you a philosophical question first so I can set the stage for your interview. Okay. What's the most important part of the wave? Because everybody says they want to catch the wave. So what's the most important part of the wave to you as an artist?
Honestly, relatability, and relatability, believability, and the ability to promote a message, whatever that is, whatever that may be. I prefer positivity.
Okay, so just like you said, you thought I was talking about a little rule of wave. I'm gonna take what you said and we're gonna paint the picture of your music. Everybody tries to catch the wave, and the wave has 4 parts. You have the motion, you have the ascension, you have the plateau, then you have the crash. Positivity is always seen as a rise, but it can also be seen as a plateau. Where does positivity in your music reach the ears? Is it on the rise through the beat, or is it in the plateau of him hearing your message?
Personally, you can put me up on a metronome and I'm gonna say what I have to say. So, like, I would say it's in my words. I really would prefer for people to listen to the words. Granted, there are dope beats, there are fantastic producers that I would love to collaborate with, but I want my words to have as much meaning, if not more, than the beat itself. Come on!
On your song, All Goes Up, you talk about...
Oh, wow, okay. Yeah. Okay, tap in, all right.
Yeah, you talk about life and how people in your life have tend to follow negativity or going towards tragedies, but the way to come up is not only to live it, it's to go through it and then learn from it.
Yes.
What's the most powerful lesson you learned in life that makes your music what it is today?
The most powerful, honestly, The most powerful, that's a fantastic question.
I told you.
That's a fantastic question. The most powerful lesson that I've learned, trust is glass. Trust is glass. I mean, because at the end of the day, you can have it, but once it's broken, you can put it back together again, but it's not going to stay the same.
That's very iconic. Because one thing about trust is there is no such thing as trust without faith. And the thing about faith is you can believe in something that's not there and be made strong, or you could believe in something that's tangible and have your power taken away because you're so focused on what's in front of you.
Mm-hmm.
What did your faith bring you that your music showed was inside of you that you never knew was there until you did your music?
My faith brought me the confidence to be myself, honestly, because I say in middle school through high school, I want to say up until about the middle of sophomore year, like I'm an extremely social person. Talk to everybody, you know what I mean? Social butterfly. Play basketball, play for my basketball team, and honestly, like it gave me the opportunity to express the things that were going on in my life, and that it was okay to feel them. It was okay to be human and enjoy the human experience. So I guess, like, honestly, yeah, it gave me an outlet for my expression. And I needed that because of the things that I was going through at that point in my life, leading up till now. Like, yeah, it was a gateway to me opening up and expressing myself.
You talked about people in hip hop changing and the wave changing and how they went from 90s hip hop to now drug induced hip hop, right? Hip hop goes through a cycle, which again is a wave. It ascends, it crashes, it pulls back and comes up with something new. And we went to a point where everybody had to be in the street and forgot about the girls. What? Then we went to a time where everybody came out the street to talk about the girls, but the men forgot themselves. What? Now we're in a part where people are so over-sexualized, it ain't even about the girls, it's about the feeling. And I want to know, you have a song called, give me 1 second, I want to make sure I have my notes. Everybody check out Flow4Thought right now on all streaming media. He has music out that not only you can hear and listen to, but he has something that you can feel and touch. One of those songs is Soul Food and Eye Candy. You went from there, which was about experience, correct? To Toxic. How does your music build upon layers like a Tetris, where everything that's laid down builds a bigger picture until you actually drop the message and people can start fresh with a new song? Okay.
Believe that whole EP, although it was only 6 songs, obviously, it actually was, it was a short story, honestly. It was a short story. I don't obviously don't want to use names. I didn't use any names in the song. It started with me, like, with All Goes Up, because that was the first track on Soul Food and Eye Candy. It started with me coming into the realization of, okay, listen, I don't need to try to compete with other people on social media. I've already walked through this path. I've gotten this far. I can still hold my head up. And it transitioned into, okay, I have a love interest. And from that love, and actually at the end, the last song, which is one of my personal favorites, is called Lovely, where I referenced Stevie Wonder on the hook. But there's a lot of wordplay in the song, but it was actually a breakup song. It was a breakup song about a year before I actually broke up with that person for those reasons. Wow. Like, I'm not.
It was a prophetic breakup song.
It really was. Like, I saw what was happening, and the more I try to communicate that, because as a man, we often fall into toxic masculinity, and a lot of men actually get shamed for expressing their feelings, and that's another thing that I'm going to be talking about soon. We get for expressing our feelings. So, like, I actually managed to express my feelings in the form of a song, which I said, expression is everything to me. Be yourself, please be yourself. So it just worked out to where I was like, all right, well, I see where this is going. Let me try to communicate this to you in a song. She heard the song, And it still went south. I was like, okay, well, if it wasn't meant to work, it wasn't meant to work. And that's where it went.
The world hates men of color, obviously, and expressing our feelings is one of the most detrimental things to our souls, yet it's the most releasing part of our spirits that helps us grow. I think one thing that showed people who pay attention who you are as an artist is your album cover. The gravy boat, you got the gravy, you got the rose, and you got the microphone. So it sounds like you're saying beauty comes from expressing your insides out. Was that what the album cover was, or the EP cover was?
Exactly what the album cover was.
Okay.
That is exactly what the album cover was.
So then, my final question regarding the EP, I have two questions left, is this. After someone hears the EP, who are you to them, and what did you want to become to them after they heard the actual project?
I wanted them to understand me as an artist, to paint a picture of my life and find some type of relatability in it, because a lot of us go through some of these issues or some of these problems. And granted, there's brilliant points in that. Well, I don't want to say brilliant, but there's good points in the EP where you can have things where you can kick back and actually enjoy the vibe. Like, I think it was Love It, where I'm painting a picture about being with a woman, but even in that, I still never said that we did anything physical. It sounded like we was going there, but I never actually did anything. I was just expressing how she made me feel and what I was willing to give to her. So I wanted people to actually take my story at that point in time in my life and find relatability in it and be like, yo, it's okay for me to say, okay, listen, to your queen, I love you, I feel this way about you. Or if I'm going through something mentally, I need you to be there to hold me down. Be my other half, be my rib. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So essentially, it's okay to be yourself. And that's what I wanted to present at that point in time as an artist.
Come on! Love is one of the most essential equations everybody gets wrong. Because with love, 1 to 1, 1 plus 1 can equal 2. 1 plus 1 can actually equal 1 as well. And 1 plus 2 can equal 3 or 1 again. You see what I'm saying? And taking the equation of what you set up with the EP, we go to Toxic. And the EP goes from a soulful expression of a man telling who he is to then a dance record where he's telling somebody who they are and how he needs to like back up a little bit. Tell me about that transition.
All right, well, that transition, obviously, I went through some things personally. And in that point in time in my life leading up to this Toxic record, I mean, I needed a way to express exactly what I was going through without belittling who I was talking about. So it came full circle because I was like, all right, well, off of Lovely, I was like, dang, it's a breakup. But you know what? Like, I understand what I did. But let me tell you about yourself real quick. Like,
yeah.
I understand what I did. I can admit my flaws as a man. I can admit my shortcomings, and I'm willing to work through those. But if you fail to see that you have shortcomings as well, now you gotta hear about yourself.
Okay, I respect that. Here's my final question, because I look forward to talking to you on heritagehiphop.com. Shout out to Nucci Rayo. He still has to come back to Heritage Hip Hop. Where you at, bro? I got you. But one thing about coming out of a toxic situation is to refresh yourself and get new life, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And you said Pun was one of your inspirations. Is that why you made the Party record, which is out right now for everybody on all streaming platforms? Check out Party and Toxic and everything else.
Well, I really loved it. I'm flattered, honestly. The Party record, you know what? It was literally after recovering from a toxic situation. It was kind of like, okay, now that I've got my mind right, let me get back to being me and showing that I can still have fun and that I'm willing to have fun. Because even on that record, I don't use profanity. It's still all about having a good time. You know, like, yeah, I was a little flirty in the second verse of the record. I was like, oh, okay, well, listen, man, like, you cute, I'll see you later after the party, you know. But it was, again, didn't lead to anything. It was just saying, hey, look, I'm putting myself back out there I'm ready to have fun. I'm ready to show the world that, hey, look, it's okay to have fun and recover successfully. Recover successfully mentally and get back to yourself to where you could have fun and be yourself. Like that.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's Heritage Hip Hop's take on Recap with the Goodfellas with Flow4Thought. But remember this, Flow4Thought is an acronym. He talking about writing, but your thoughts actually flow. Because when the thoughts stop flowing, that means you're dead. So he's making life music, not music just for you to dance to. So make sure you check out Flow4Thought on all streaming platforms. And if you like the music, make sure you buy the music. Because remember, if the internet ever goes dead, if you have not bought your music, you don't own your music. So make sure if music is life, keep your life right and keep your playlist hot. Peace.